Okay, these are the supplies we're using to make Granny's Mexican rice. We have salt, pepper. She always used Adolphus rice, onion, regular tomato sauce. We're using canned broth today, but Granny always used her own chicken broth. So ideally you would boil a chicken, and you would be probably making more rice. So you would do a cup of rice with 2 1/4 cups of real chicken broth. We brown the rice in just this vegetable oil, and you might optional put chicken bouillon cube in it. That's optional. So those are the supplies, and we'll get ready for the first step in just a minute. We've got that much oil, which is probably a little more than 1/4 cup of just vegetable oil. She's saying no. Okay. She thinks it's less. You think it's less? Okay. About an eighth. Okay. So now we're putting the rice in. And here's the secret ingredient that you must have, and it's Granny's actual spoon. So you must use that if you want your rice to be wonderful. Now make sure you saturate all of the rice in the oil, and we're going to work on that and get it brown. Okay, so as you can see, we've been browning the rice now for, it's been almost 10 minutes, but every stove is different, so you really just need to stay with the rice and stir it a lot so it gets kind of a tan color, and keep stirring it. And we're going to add about 1/4 cup of a chopped onion. And just saute that a little bit for about a minute until it softens. Okay, so we've got the onion going in our vegetable oil and rice. And you can use olive oil. I usually use olive oil. We added maybe about 1/4 cup of regular tomato sauce. Now we've got the can of broth. So what you want to do is add whatever rice you add, go a little bit over double for the broth. So let's say you had a cup of rice, then your broth would be about 2 cups and maybe 1/4. So a little bit more than double. We've got some salt. And now the bouillon cube that Mom's adding now is probably not necessary if you use actual chicken broth. Granny always used real chicken broth. Granny did not use the can of broth, but we're just doing a small serving today just for Mom and I. So we're going to throw in that bouillon cube because we use the canned broth. But if you're using your real chicken broth, you season that chicken with salt, pepper, and garlic powder, and you get that broth real tasty for about 45 minutes. And you have that to use for your rice. So that's really the way to go. And that's the way Mom usually does it. But today we're just doing like a short version. Okay, so we've got our rice. We put our, not the whole can of tomato sauce, just about a third of it, 1/4 of it. And we're going to bring it to a boil. Don't forget your salt and pepper. And that is it. We're going to bring this to a boil. We're going to cover it. And we're going to simmer it. Whatever your directions for your rice packet says, that's how long you simmer it. And we will show you what it looks like in a bit. Okay, so we got the broth and rice boiling. Mom threw in a few tomatoes. That's optional. Cut up a little bit of, just a tiny bit of tomatoes. You're going to put the lid on it, and then you're going to be patient. And you don't need to peek under that lid to see what's happening. Just trust that your rice is doing its job under there. So bring it to remember every stove is different, so bring it to a low simmer. Turn it to low, depending on your stove, and set your timer. Okay, so this is what your rice should look like. We're going to let it sit for a little bit. If you have an electric stove, remember it's going to keep cooking for a little bit. Okay, so the rice, that took about 15 minutes. As you can see, it's dry, and it's okay to let it sit for a little bit, but it is ready to serve. And just a little treat, just FYI, probably a good idea to have some of those handy.